Thank you. Tonight I have the pleasure of introducing you to our speaker, Reverend Ron Johnson. He has taken on many roles throughout his life. First, he was a student and he completed high school at Ida Grove High School. Then he went on to complete his post-secondary education at Northwestern. Raiders stand out. He and his wife, Marcia, also went on to live in Seymour, Iowa for 6 years, Rock Valley for 14 years, Canaan, South Dakota for 13 years, and then Yankton, South Dakota for 10 years. Recently, Ron has taken on his role of grandpa or papa more seriously, with 12 grandkids between Spirit Lake, Inwood, and Brookings, South Dakota. In 2020, he retired from preaching and moved to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. You will see him frequently at West Lyon events, sitting in the bleachers at basketball games and concerts, or in the center field at softball games. If you are a player and you run into him, prepare for a motivational speech or a hug. If this makes you uncomfortable, I am sorry. However, you will never see a person with a bigger heart. Please give a warm West Lyon welcome to my papa, Ron Johnson.
Doesn't get any better than that, does it? There's a lot of good things going on here tonight. But for me, the best part of it was having her introduce me, because she's the one who gave me the title of grandpa. And I won't go any further because I won't make it, okay? I want to say good evening to all of you students, to the families who are here, and to guests, and to say it is truly an honor to be standing before you tonight. And I would like to express my gratitude for thinking of me and inviting me to speak at this very special occasion. I talked to Randy about a month ago, and there wasn't any hesitation on my part, because I know how big of a deal this is. This is very special. What a pleasure it is to see the students of West Lyon High School continue to flourish in providing leadership and service in their school and in their communities where they live. And to all of the inductees, I would like to personally congratulate you for being able to say that you are going to be members of the National Honor Society. And I would hope that you and your parents and your grandparents understand that this is a momentous occasion that only select high school students are able to experience. I never got the chance to experience the honor of being a part of this prestigious society. And the one reason why is because a 3.0 grade point average is not going to make it. I think that's what I had anyway. But I remember well the induction ceremony at Ida Grove High School, which is now one of those alphabet schools, OA, BC, IG. And the ceremony was held during the school hours, and we all found our way to the high school auditorium. And we watched and listened as members of the society would walk out among the student body, and then they would tap on the shoulder the new members and escort them to the stage to be properly received and acknowledged. And the inductees' parents were hiding behind the curtain, waiting for that special moment when their son or daughter would be acknowledged. And it was made clear that the achievements in this realm of the realms of leadership and scholarship and service and character was being honored by the induction of these students in this prestigious society. And we were also made aware of those requirements that were chosen for a reason. And when you step back and you look at it, aren't these requirements the core of a fulfilled and a fulfilling life? But I know that not every student is willing to offer their time to help benefit their school and their community. The young man I came to know and admire out of Rock Valley when I was pastor there was a very busy and highly engaged student in a number of service activities. And I think at the time that when I was talking with him, he had just celebrated his Eagle Scout Court of Honor. And I asked him how he chose the activities to which he would give his time. And he said, wherever I can offer myself in helping others the most, that's where I'm going to be. To benefit others, not looking for any recognition for himself or acknowledgement in doing so. It was the late Winston Churchill who said, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. From where I stand at this point in my life, I believe that life is like a book. And some chapters are sad, some are happy, and some are exciting, but if you don't turn the page, you will never know what that next chapter holds, right? And this means that this ceremony is also a celebration of what is yet to come. There is no doubt in my mind that having the qualities of leadership and character and service will open many doors for you. And at this point in the ceremony, we are going to be thinking about the inductees who are going to be received, and the recognition will be offered to them, and certificates will be handed out. But what about after that? So what? Now what goes on? What follows after tonight? And you new inductees, what are you going to give your life to? And for what purpose? Or is it enough just to rest on your laurels? And that means resting on the recognition of your achievement. In case you haven't noticed, we live in a world that struggles in many ways. Did you notice that? Is there something you can do to address that struggle? And are you going to be a part of the problem, or are you going to be part of the answer? What are you called to do and to be? We have before us tonight students who are honor students, who are athletes involved in student government. Some of them play in the band, and some of them sing in the chorus, which was really well done, ladies. Appreciate that. And there's many more extracurricular activities. From what I have observed, they have repeatedly been able to demonstrate excellence in scholarship and leadership and character and service. And as a pastor for almost 48 years, being one who wants to make a difference with my life, I also must continue to live by these principles. I firmly believe that having a good grade point average is more than having a perfect report card. It is a love and a hunger for learning. I had a spiritual mentor in my life who, when I asked him, well, what do you know? He'd always say, not enough, but I'm learning. That always stuck with me. I want to keep learning. And a commitment done willingly to spend the necessary time to satisfy the mind in the quest for knowledge and to strive for your full potential. You ever have any regrets in your life? You know what a regret is? You should have done it, but you didn't. But you did it, and you shouldn't have done it, you know? Well, one of my biggest regrets is failing to learn how to play the piano when the opportunity presented itself. My mom had the teacher all lined up. I went for one lesson. I had the music. But for some reason, whenever I was practicing, the neighborhood boys were looking in the window wanting me to come and play baseball. And it never got done. And I regret that to this day. What distinguishes one individual from another? I believe it takes character to know right from wrong. And to have good character, one is required to be honest, to be noble, to be reliable, and be responsible. When I work with the patients at Keystone Treatment Center in Canton, I always say to them, if treatment's going to have any chance of success for you, you have to tell the truth. You have to be honest. Your character defines who you are as an individual. And it is the product of constant striving to make right choices day after day. Any of you remember the late Dan Reeves, who was the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, he played for the Cowboys, but for the Denver Broncos. And he said, you can measure a person's character by the way he or she treats those who appear to be able to do nothing for you. And how do you become a leader? It's each small decision that you make takes you one step closer. It is not about being the best, but about making everyone else better. It's not about who you beat down, but it's who you lift up. And it may come about when working on a school project or when saying no to peer pressure. Leaders are people who take the initiative, and they are not afraid to stand up for themselves and for others. And leaders help themselves and others to do the right things and to face the challenging obstacles and situations. When I think of someone like that, I think of a guy by the name of Dan DeGroothuis. And Howard, you remember Dan, don't you? And during my sophomore year in college, my parents were going through a divorce. And I was 19 years old at the time, and I was supposed to go home, and I was supposed to be there for the divorce proceeding, and I was supposed to say who I wanted to have custody over. How do you do that? Your mom and your dad. Well, Grote, as we call him, showed up at my door. And I mean, we were friends, but we didn't really hang in the same circles. And he showed up at my door, and he said, Ron, I heard about your situation. I know you got a tough day tomorrow, but I want to visit with you about that. And he asked me about the whole thing, and I told him, and he said, you know, rather than you having to go through this, do you think it would be possible for me to adopt you? Every time I think about that, I cry. No, it wouldn't be possible, but the love and the support and the care that he offered to me. It was a few years later when I was pastor in Rock Valley, the knock came at my office door one day, and I opened up, and there was Grote once again. He's working on a national level with Special Olympics. He's out there helping people find their way. Leaders without vision can be likened to driving in a strange town without a road map or a GPS on your phone. You're going to wind up somewhere, but it just might not be the best part of town where you end up. And remember that leadership is not always about being elected or appointed to an office, but rather an attitude that is cultivated over time. Are you one to stand up for what you believe in and face the music even when that music happens to be unpleasant? And do you have purpose and follow it to get to the ends you desire? And do you have vision for your life? Remember, leaders lead. I've heard service defined as an act of being selfless with the sole purpose of making another person happy. The smile that I can put on someone's face is always the greatest reward for me. And please know that it feels good to do good. And the willingness to work for the benefit of others in need without compensation, without recognition of any kind, is a quality that is essential in National Honor Society members. I got to where I'm at with my life because of my relationships that I have built up along the way, maintained, and continue to grow. And one young person said it best, your network is your net worth, meaning you can reach higher levels of success when celebrating with others who share your similar values, and they aren't afraid to disagree with you and tell you the truth. I want you to think about this. What has more value for you? 100 pennies or 4 quarters? Think about that. Yes, monetarily, they're both worth $1, right? But let's look at it from a different level. Let's say those 100 pennies are people that you are acquainted with. You like them, but if something really went wrong in your life, would you depend on them? But that's where the 4 quarters are. Those are the people who have invested in you, who are solid. And you know that if you have a problem, if you're struggling in some way, they would be there, like Grote did with me. And how many people could look to you as being one of their quarters in their life? Coach K said it, you're not going to get there alone. Be on a team and surround yourself with good people and learn how to listen. While we have little or no control over the circumstances that life puts in front of us, you do have control over the choices that you're going to make. You choose to be hardworking, to pay attention in class, to manage your time effectively, to build relationships, to apply yourself. And today the selection committee noticed and recognizes the choices that you have made. Tomorrow it might be a college admissions counselor, or a future boss, or a significant other who notices and recognizes the choices that you make. And sometimes when you're young, you think you are doing something insignificant or just biding your time until the real opportunities begin. But what you don't realize, that you are already taking the first steps in the journey of who you will become someday. Don't underestimate your first steps, because everyone in this room has the ability and work ethic to do great things, and I know you will. Dare to be different. That means not being afraid to challenge the norm, and be willing to take a chance, take a risk, and make your own future. And don't just follow the well-trodden path. Don't go where the path leads, but go where there is no path and leave a trail. And never let anyone turn your sky into a sea. What you do with your life, love it with every part of you, guys. And be the person that you were called and that you were meant to be. Thank you again for this opportunity and honor. And I wish you all the very best and continued success and happiness. And remember, wherever life takes you, there is a road that can lead you home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, for sharing with us. We appreciate your willingness to give up some of your time to prepare and share some of your thoughts and ideas. As a way of saying thanks, we would like to give you a small token of our appreciation. Thanks again. Now, I'd like to take a few